The Banshees of Inisheran. So you got Colin Farrell playing Patrick and Brendan Gleeson playing Colm. Two friends living off a small island, Inisheran, which isn't a real place, but apparently roughly translates to the island of Ireland. Yeah? See what they're doing? It's during the Irish Civil War. One day they have a falling out, instigated by Colm. Doesn't want to be friends anymore. Simple as that. There's no reason given, no explanation. He just wants to call it quits. Because he's given no explanation, there's no argument that they had, there's no specific issue, Patrick can't really take the whole situation seriously, and so he keeps trying to figure out what he did wrong, and he keeps pressing Colm for an answer. Because he's a nice guy and he wants to remedy the situation. And also, to borrow a phrase from the film, Patrick's a little dull. Patrick continues to press Colm, who only wants to spend his remaining years composing on his fiddle, something that's going to last longer than these pointless, boring, dreary, dull conversations he has down at the pub. Soon, Colm makes it known how serious he is in his threats and how earnest he is in this whole situation by lopping off one of his fingers, and promises to cut off the rest if Patrick doesn't just leave him alone. Now, I know nothing of the Irish Civil War, and I don't think it's necessary, other than knowing that it happened during the time this film was set. It's constantly going on in the background. And like most civil wars, it's probably predicated on petty tribalism and squabbles that no one else cares about. But like all civil wars, like all wars, unfortunately affects anyone and everyone unfortunate enough to be close by. This is where I think it's important to talk about the supports, because the beauty of this film, like all of Martin McDonagh's films, is that his supporting players are proper, fleshed out characters with lives and journeys that are not only rewarding and tragic in their own right, but which help shape the main narrative arc of the movie itself. They assist in propelling the central plot forward. There's a wicked, evil man of a policeman, and there's this brilliant, sticky beat gossip of a shopkeeper, plus like an ineffectual bartender, just to name a few of these other supporting characters, all of whom turn this town into something genuine and tangible and archetypal, really. Kerry Condon plays the sister of Patrick, who's stuck on the island like the rest of them, but seems to be the only one aware of her predicament. The only one willing to do anything about changing her station in life. Real, positive change, not just self-mutilation. Difficult and heartbreaking as her decisions may ultimately end up being. Then, you've got Barry Keoghan, around whom an entire film could be made, given the rich material presented in the character of Dominic. And I'm not just talking about your man's performance, which is colossal and steals your heart, if not the whole show. And if the leads weren't so perfectly cast with Farrell and Gleeson, I dare say Barry could have upstaged everyone. Heavens to mercy, where did this fella come from, like? From the end of Matt Reeves' Batman, where a laugh and a tiny scrap of dialogue is enough to open up this enormous, tantalizing peek into the character of the Joker that's going to come in the next installment. Untitled Arkham Prisoner, sure. And then in Banshees, you've got him using these like styming little ticks here and there and some drunken sort of self-soothing behavior, all of which conveys to the viewer this incredible depth, and it's played with such beautiful subtlety that it's clear to see why he's nominated for an Oscar this year. And of course the writing is glistening, as is always the case with Martin McDonagh. It just flows with this ease, the conversation sounds so real, but, and you'll forgive my pretentious acting nonsense here for a minute, all of Barry's lines in this film, none of them are delivered, they're all discovered. Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. Then we come to the Banshee herself, Sheila Filton, who I'm sure is a lovely, kind, sweet woman in real life, but oh my God, what a progressively creepy and unsettling character she cuts as the movie unfolds. She's this omniscient, omnipresent spirit that almost floats through the film, affecting nothing, or next to nothing, but being present for all of the drama. She's always there, just lurking in the background, watching. She is the Banshee herself. She's the figure of death, the harbinger of chaos and destruction that's to come. I mean, there's quite a few literal allusions. There's a scene where she's holding a scythe. There's another moment where she says, not exactly, but something to the effect of, death will be visited upon Inisheran. The character of the Banshee and the way Sheila plays it, she acts like this, not a narrator, not a Greek chorus, but like a physical representation of the mythology around which so much of this film is based. A totem, maybe. A spirit that's just flittering through the limbo that is this island. The film is rich in symbolism and lore, folk and literal, L-O-R-E. The dialogue and idioms, I'm assuming, are spot on because there's quite a few moments in the film where I think I needed subtitles. What do you mean you don't want to be friends with me, like? We were friends yesterday, Saul. The cinematography is glorious without being showy or gregarious or extravagant or superfluous, making this imaginary island seem quaint and cozy and romantic when it needs to be, but then also really drab and dreary and miserable when it serves the story. Now, for sure, Banshees is not a comedy, not straight down the line anyway, a dark comedy, at least for the first half of the film. There's plenty of funny moments in the film, to be sure. Disappointing thing, to be sure. And hilarious bits of dialogue, as Martin is known for. Think In Bruges. The way In Bruges was a heavy premise that plays itself out as a comedy, Banshees is this ludicrous premise that plays itself out as a deadly serious drama. What starts off as something satirical, shining a harsh light on the absurdities of civil strife, soon unfolds itself and becomes this dramatic, forlorn folktale, something that's like just shy of supernatural. Ultimately, the film has much more weight and poignancy than any of the trailers I saw would suggest. Absolutely go out and see this movie for sure, but just make sure you're in the right mood. Maybe have yourself a wee whiskey ready for after the film's done.